Hey guys, welcome back to Mrs. Nichols at-home science classroom. This is going to be your video for Wednesday, April 1st of 2020. What I'm going to be talking about today is going to be notes on section 17.4. We are skipping 17.3. You don't have to worry about it. So if you don't have your notes handy that I attached in Google Classroom, pause the video, get to your notes, because that's what I'm going to be talking about for the next few minutes. I'll wait till you get your notes. Sorry. So, section 17.4 is still dealing with classification of living things. The title of this section is going to be Domains and Kingdoms. Technically, domains and kingdoms are using two different systems to get the job done. They both accomplish the same thing, they just do it in two different ways. The domain system is actually the newer of the two systems. It is considered more modern. The domain system splits all living things up into one of three giant categories. Those are called domains. And the names of those three domains are going to be bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Each one of those domains is going to have a lot of different organisms that are a part of it. Those domains are going to be based on ribosomal RNA. So it's going to be looking at RNA that's found inside ribosomes of cells to determine which domain an organism should go into. So as far as the three domains go, bacteria is going to contain what most of us would call everyday types of bacteria. These are the ones that can make you sick. These are the ones that can kill you. These are also the types of bacteria that we actually need in order to stay alive. These are ones we come in contact with every single day. Examples of these might be things like E. coli, you've all heard of that. Streptococcus, that's the type of bacteria that causes strep throat infections. Staphylococcus is the type of bacteria that causes staph infections, like on your skin. The second domain is called archaea. This is a Latin term coming from the root word archaea, which is archaic, meaning extremely old, extremely ancient. These bacteria are alive today. The reason we put them in this category is from an evolutionary perspective. We think they evolved from the very first life forms on this planet. These bacteria, most humans will rarely ever come in contact with because of where they live. They live in extremely harsh environments. Like on the along volcanic vents, on the deep ocean floor where there's actually magma rising up from the bottom of the floor. It's incredibly hot. There's all kinds of toxic gases in those environments where most living cells could never survive. But this category of bacteria has evolved methods of survival. They can even actually make their own food doing a process called chemosynthesis. We talked about that a long time ago. It's kind of like photosynthesis, except instead of using sunlight to make food, they actually use chemicals that are in the water where they're living. Third domain is called eukarya, again, Latin. You guys know that a eukaryote is a cell that has a nucleus. The other two domains are going to be made out of prokaryotic cells, okay? You might think it's weird that they made two different domains of prokaryotic cells, but the reason they did that is because there are actually more bacterial cells on this planet, more bacterial organisms than there are eukaryotic organisms. Remember, you're not going to see viruses show up anywhere on any of this because viruses are not considered living things. The reason they're not considered living things is because they're not made out of cells, okay? And it sounds weird because in the news, all you hear constantly is, we're trying to battle this virus called the coronavirus. And yes, that's true. You might even hear people say we're trying to kill it. But technically you can't kill something that was never alive to begin with. What we are trying to do is destroy it. That's what we're trying to do. A different system that is older, been around longer, and they've already talked about earlier in this chapter, is going to be the Linnaean system. The Linnaean system is the one that Carolus Linnaeus came up with. It includes 7 different taxonomic levels, which are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. The kingdom system has a total of 6 different kingdoms. And what I did on this chart is I basically showed you how they match up to the domains. So there is a kingdom called bacteria. That matches up perfectly to the domain that's called bacteria. There's also a kingdom called archaebacteria or archaeibacteria, depending upon who you're listening to pronounce it. This is going to match up perfectly to the domain archaea. In other words, the exact same types of organisms are going to be in both of those. And then there are an additional 4 kingdoms, which are protista, which are the protists, fungi, animalia, and plantae. Those 4 kingdoms together would fit into domain eukarya. You guys all know examples of animals and plants. Just a couple of examples for protists. These are single-celled organisms. Most of them live in water. There's a few of them that live on land, but not very many. These are going to be microscopic. They come in all different colors, all different shapes. Some of them look like little slippers. Some of them look like little paisleys. Some of them look like little robots. An example of a protista would be something called a euglena. They're the ones that kind of look like a slipper. An example of a type of fungi would be a mushroom, or yeast would be another example of a type of fungi. What you need to know for all of these is for the different kingdoms and the different domains, you need to know if they're prokaryotic or eukaryotic. You need to know if they can make their own food or not. In other words, how do they get their nutrition? You also would need to know some examples of each. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you watch the Amoeba Sisters video and also be looking over the notes. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.